Hey everybody, I wanted to do a quick video talking about the practice program. I say a lot about practice program and how I want you guys to use it, but not really provide any guidance on what it is and how to use it. So as far as who this video is for, if you're a student at Mason High School in Mason, Michigan and you want to do drumline or marching percussion, then this is the video for you. If you are not a student in Mason High School and you got here by accident or you followed a link or whatever, but you're interested in marching percussion and being on a drumline someplace else, then this is not a bad video to watch either, because the concepts that we're talking about are broadly applicable no matter where you are and what you're doing. The practice program itself is a 17-minute video. The link is in the description below, so you can follow that to actually work the program. Now, before we get started, there are a couple things that you sort of need to know before you get into this. The first thing is you need to have a basic musical education. You've got to have at least a notional idea of what note values are. You also need to be in a situation where you can get instruction and guidance on things like the specific techniques that apply to you. And Mason, that's what I'm there for, to do that, but this video is not going to teach you techniques. How you doing, buddy?
Good.
All right, cool.
Hi guys.
There you go. The next thing you need to be aware of is to have some notional idea of how dynamics work. Here at Mason, we only have 4 dynamic levels that we specify, and we do it by heights. And conveniently, that's why I mark up the drumsticks, right? So the very first height is at 3 inches right here, and this is your tap height, unmarked. And marcato, which is the little hash mark, is right here. And then up here at the core master on your Hardimans, that's 14 inches, that's your accent height. And then the sforzato is full vertical. So those are your 4 heights there. You need to be aware of those coming into the practice program. When you get started, some of the very first things that you should be doing, and this is my recommendation before you begin playing any notes in time with the music, is to start the practice program and turn off the sound so you can concentrate on doing your sticking patterns exclusively, right? To get your hands squared away with the right and the left that are shown on the page. It's been my observation that most younger students, they're presented in class with rhythms and beats that they need to play, but the sticking pattern itself is rarely indicated. I mean, they're working on rhythms and timing, but nothing on sticking patterns. And that is something that's very important for marching percussion. It's something that you should really be spending a lot of time making sure that your hands are squared away, because if your sticking pattern is not accurate, you're going to be reinforcing bad habits, and we're going to be moving backwards to be able to fix your hands. So start with the sound off, get your sticking pattern squared away. From a frustration point of view, the practice program will automatically keep you moving along, because you can work on the program or the exercise that's in front of you, and then after a certain amount of time, that'll just move to the next program. So you don't have to stick on that first exercise. Just let the program take you through all the exercises and see if you can get your hands all squared away. Now after that, once you have all your sticking patterns all squared away, now we can turn on the sound. But I would recommend that you don't start playing immediately. Just turn on the sound and listen and start marking time. So forget about your hands for a minute. Just work on your ears and work on your feet. So it's just really simple. Just pounding out that left, right, left with your foot in time, and really get a sense for linking up your ears to the practice program through your feet without even having to worry about what your hands are doing, okay? And what that'll do is that'll start to internalize the tempo. And again, something that a lot of students learn from a really young age is the idea that we have this metronome, which is the external pulse, and you're trying to match it up to a rhythmic interpretation that's given. But only in marching percussion do we say, this is the way that you internalize the pulse, and marking time is the way that you do that. And that's so fundamental to what we do, it's kind of impossible to overstate. Now, as we start to play along, the third thing that I really want you to focus on doing is playing from your feet. So as that metronome is going, as the practice program is playing, instead of taking the mentality like, oh, I'm going to take my hands and I'm going to listen to what's going on and try to match up my hands to the practice program, and maybe if I'm lucky, my feet will be in time, maybe, who knows. What we should be doing is we should be listening to calibrate our feet, keeping our feet in time all the time, right? And then we take our hands and we match up our hands to our feet, the other way around. So if you think about the energy that goes into tracking time, it should be a circle. It should be the external stimulus of what's happening, whether you've got a drum major or a metronome or like the other players that you're trying to match up with. And then that should be going into making your feet work. And then you take your hands and you match them up to your feet, right? And then that's the sound that you're giving, outwards as part of your performance. And then the whole thing goes in a cycle again. The feedback of the external stimulus goes to the feet, which then goes to the hands, and then goes to the sound heading out to the audience. So that's the order that we should be going in. So 1, get your sticking pattern squared away. 2, internalize the pulse. 3, turn on the sound and think about playing your hands off of your feet. Now as you get better, you come up with a 4th thing, which is try to bury the met. And that is just a slick way of saying that your iPhone in the practice program is not nearly as loud coming out of that speaker as even the sound of your practice pad. So if your timing is all in line, there's going to come a point where you can't hear the practice program anymore. The metronome will disappear because the sound of your practice pad will line up so perfectly it'll drown out the metronome. So in other words, it'll bury the met. As you progress through the practice program, have patience with each of the exercises, because you're going to learn some at a faster pace than others. So if you move along very quickly in one exercise, but you're struggling in another exercise, then have patience. Push the first exercise as far as it'll go, but on that second exercise where you're struggling, back off, work on the feet, and expect to just make incremental progress. Not all exercises are the same, so your progress is not going to be the same throughout all of them. At some point, you're going to get very comfortable and very proficient with all these exercises. And those will be the time that you can start being creative and modifying the exercises. A great example is you can take the timing exercises, which come in different patterns. So we start out with 1 EN, 2 EN, 3 EN, 4 EN, and then go 1 E, a 2 E, a 3 E, a 4 E, then 1 and a 2 and a 3 and a 4, and then E and a, E and a, E and a, E and a 1. What we can do then is switch that order, right? So as a player, you can put the E andas first, right? And then you can do your 2 E and 3 E and then your 1 E, a 2 E. And you can mix it on up. And what that does is now all of a sudden your playing is different from what's happening on the practice program. But the trick is to match up your listening and your skill and your confidence that the overall context of what you're playing still lines up with the practice program. It still works, in other words. You can do that as well with open rolls. So instead of just doing the long rolls again, you can do tap drags, you can 5-stroke rolls, you can do tap 5, 6-stroke rolls, paradiddle diddles, anything you want, because the context is given to you and you can start to play with it. With the accent tap, a really good way of doing that is to reverse the order of the accents in the taps, because in that exercise is written as loud, soft, soft, loud, soft, soft, loud, soft, soft. You can switch it up and go soft, loud, loud, soft, loud, loud, soft, loud, loud inside that framework. And again, it should all line up from a listening and tempo standpoint, but now you're challenging yourself in a different way. And probably the best for last, I'll keep it for the best for last, play it off the left, right? If you think you're really good at everything off the right hand, switch it on over, just flip the sticking patterns and see what happens. It will change the total concept and context of what you're learning, but in a good way. It'll be challenging you to really, it'll feel like you're starting over, but what you're doing is you're broadening your horizons and really becoming more ambidextrous. So going back to the original to recap, first, get your sticking pattern squared away, and you can do that without the sound on the practice program. Second, turn the sound on and then just work on marking time so that your marking time is rock solid. Once you turn on the sound and you start playing along with it, do the best you can to bury the metronome, bury the practice program, and to get your playing to line up with that. 4, be patient, because not every exercise is going to progress at the same rate. And 5, when you're getting really good and you're getting really proficient with it overall, start to switch it up to change the context and make it more challenging for yourself. There are many different variations that you can do on this practice program. It's useful for you regardless of your skill level. I still use it to challenge myself, and I don't characterize myself as a beginner. But that's just the depth of the art, that you can always find something to improve upon, that you can always challenging every aspect of your playing to improve, and you can get it done with a very simple program. This program will cover nearly all the playing situations that you're going to face at Mason, because if you get good at it, you can adapt it to all the weird oddball stuff that you could potentially get thrown at you. So that's pretty much it. If you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'll see you in rehearsal, and don't forget to check out the link below for the practice program, and yeah, see you in a bit.